Hello and welcome to the Bull Mountain Brothers podcast with your hosts, Ramsey Rutschke, Riley Rutschke, and Sean Morris.
What is up, podcast listeners? I'm here with the boys. How we doing, guys?
What's up, fools?
Good.
Welcome to our first After Dark special. We're pretty excited. I think we're gonna call this thing the Lodge Crew.
I don't know. That's a little bit of a brainstorm idea, I think.
Yeah. Let's get some feedback on that. Everyone calls it After Dark. Every podcast calls. Basically, we've got this explicit episode that we're doing. Once a month.
Yeah.
And I don't know. We're thinking what to call it.
It's tough coming up with names. It's not like you can just kind of sit down and figure it out, right?
No.
Except for segment last week. Sitting in here like, what the hell should we call my segment that we had last week? And Ramsey just comes up, Sean's no shit or bullshit. Like, that's the
that was good
right there.
Yeah.
And the Wall Tank Chronicles also worked out good.
I mean, the one time you guys let me talk.
Oh, shit.
Who was that? Ramsey that came up with that idea? Walton Chronicles?
No, it was me.
Really?
Yeah, I have great ideas.
Wow.
I am piss excellence.
You're a one and done though type of guy, or
so viewer discretion is advised. I mean, we do cuss on every episode, anyways, but
we do.
The subjects might get a little more spicy.
They could.
Also, this is our first recorded video podcast. What is up?
What's up, guys?
This is true.
We are not as ugly in person, I swear. Well, maybe Ramsey.
Yeah, I definitely.
It's got a face for radio, like we've said multiple times.
Yeah.
Well, what you guys been up to since last week? You get anything done last weekend?
No.
Absolutely skunked.
Yeah, we went ice fishing, as we said, and it was, as some would say,
don't go to Cooney Reservoir if you are thinking about going ice fishing and you're in this area. I'll just save you the trouble.
Yeah. Or we suck.
I don't think there's any fish in that lake.
Dude, well, we saw people on
today
on Facebook catching rainbows.
Today, yeah, but they're probably in the shallower.
They're on the other side.
There's no Walters, dude. Where are the Walters?
Oh, they all got shoved out on that onto the ocean.
Yep, the ocean.
Over there. You think I'm really gonna say it, you dirty sack of shit?
Sean, I'd like you to just finish that sentence just to piss Riley off.
No. This is seen by at least 200 people a week.
Oh,
at a bare minimum,
and all 200
and maximum
need to know Riley's spots.
Hey, there is a day possibly where a person could go back. Hey, when we hit 100 episodes, even episode 3, someone could go back and listen to things.
Like restart. Do you think, like, you know how you go in like a really good TV show will have like every episode is like adding on to the previous? Right. Would you say that our podcasts, from 0 to 100 episodes would be about the same thing or no?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Especially if we recap we recap our weekend.
I can't stand those TV shows. I mean, you're like 1 week they're doing something and the next week they're not even in the same area and you're just like, how do I watch this?
Yeah.
Can't handle it.
Or episodical. Is that how they say it?
Yeah, no. Nope. I don't think so.
No, I think episonic.
Anyways,
epidemic.
Let's move on here. So,
yeah. But nothing. You guys got nothing else done this weekend besides our one 6-hour session. Oh, we kind of got up late to go fishing. What happened?
Yeah.
I can't remember. Why were we out fishing late?
Because we had to go to Walmart to get Sean a chair.
Oh yeah, and we had to go get fucking minnows.
It's like basically every
dead minnows
instance of us doing anything. Well, besides hunting, we're pretty good at hunting.
Except for when I forgot my camo.
And the podcast, until the one night we have a guest, we're super organized.
Yeah, no shit. Well, it's not that difficult when there's just 3 of us. We just show up, sit down, and bang it out, and then 4th guy shows up, and I don't know. Ramsey's running around the house like his ass is on fire, and Riley's sitting there trying to calm him down. It's just
it's been a great night. We're having a good time.
Go on an Amazon spending spree, so I don't have to deal with technical difficulties.
Yeah. Well, so we only fished for 6 hours. It was fucking cold.
Yeah.
Actually warmer when we got there.
And no wind.
We
were driving out there, and I thought the truck was going to flip over.
Then we get out there, and there's no wind. And
I had one bite. Maybe.
I was asleep, so I'm gonna be with Sean.
Hey, it was following the sonar. We watched the fish. Just
no. It was. I mean, it wasn't like we got there, didn't see any fish. Like we picked fish up on the flasher all day.
Yeah, they just weren't.
And they, I mean, we get them off the bottom like they should. They just wouldn't hit.
Yeah, it sucks.
I don't really know.
It really sucks.
Riley, his just according to Sean Bass said this saying the fly.
Oh, he fucking did.
Actually, there's a better story than that. We got game checked. Or not game checked. What would you call it? The warden
License
came through.
checked, yeah.
We got our license checked, which is great. We have our licenses ready and everything. But I had a
No.
No.
I'm going to interject here because I told Riley the night before. He's like, "No, I got it on my phone," and I was like, "Well, you should put your tags in there just in case." He's like, "All right, I'll put my tags in there." Then same night, I go over to Sean's, and he's like, "Oh, I could just get it on my phone." I'm like, "Sean, your tags are in your hunting backpack." He's like, "Oh, yeah." So he put his tags in there. Neither one could find it on their fucking phone.
Bullshit.
If I was under pressure and a little bit more time, I could have found the screenshot.
What Riley should have said is Ramsey and I were one and done, handed him the shit, taken care of, and Riley is fucking throwing evering around in the ice house.
That was me.
No,
that
hold
was
on.
Riley.
Let's preference this. Preface. Holy shit, we can't even talk tonight. I can't talk normally, so I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. But in Montana, what was it, last year they passed it? They went to paperless for fishing. So if you have a certain email sent to you with your hunting or your fishing regulations on it, you can screenshot it or keep it in an email folder, and you can show the game warden. And we learned this,
which I believe works for upland bird as well.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I keep my hunting tags.
Yeah.
For those listening, do not listen to anything Ramsey says.
Well, I mean, regardless. So we had an incident where a friend of ours that was with us fishing that doesn't fish ever, like this was like last March, didn't know that you had to get like a fishing license every year, apparently. And so when we got stopped by the game wardens, that's how we learned. I mean, we had all of our tags, printed copies, but that's where we personally learned that you can have the screenshot on your phone. Well, I'm going back through because I was like, at that time, I was like, I'm going to like screenshot this right now. I don't know what the hell happened to it, but it wasn't on there. So I'm like, oh, I'm starting to get nervous. But I remembered that I threw my tags in the back of Ramsey's chair. So as I get up, a couple weeks ago, I bought this like little plastic bucket that you put like live worms in.
Oh shit, I know where he's going with this.
That you put like you put your bait in, right?
Yeah.
And it's so cold out. I'm not like, I think you're supposed to like actually like dump the like sawdust and stuff in the thing. But I just had them all in their containers because it was so cold and I didn't want them to die. So I go to pick that. I had to go up.
Because that thin layer of plastic is going to keep them from dying.
Yeah, it's insulated. 6 mil plastic.
Listen, we went to a pond a couple weeks ago and they all died. So I tried something new, okay?
Let's finish your story here.
All right. So anyways, I get up.
We'll wrap this episode up here pretty quick.
I go to get up to go over to Ramsey's chair to get my tags because I can't find it on my phone. I move the bucket. And meanwhile, so like, if you can imagine the square of the ice hut, the door's here. So the game warden's leaning in through the door. And my hole is like here. I'm sitting here. Ramsey's sitting here. So I turn around to, really? It's pretty fucking funny.
Riley was very
Ramsey doesn't talk for 3 fucking episodes, and now he's the yawn guy. Get him one fucking German beer, and he's the yawn guy now.
Can you just get to the point?
All right, it's a good story.
You're being too descriptive.
Yeah,
No, well, it's hilarious. All right, fine. End of the story here is the game warden's leaning in, and this is it's not a tense moment, but like every time you're the game warden, you're like, I want him to do everything correctly. And I turn around and I dump the entire. I knock the minnow or the worm bucket straight into Ramsey's ice hole. All of our wax worms, straight into Ramsey's ice hole. lost all of our waxworms, and the game warden just was laughing his ass off.
He goes, "Oh, you guys should come. You guys should wait a couple hours, and whoever's got this hole is gonna be hitting them hot." And I'm like, "You lying sack of shit."
Yeah. The theory did not work.
And by the way, for you folks that don't normally ice fish, I'm using a sonar fish finder. So all the little particles of sawdust and worm that are going down is marking as a fish on my fish finder. Went on until we left.
Yeah.
And then we started a little game when we were cutting the heads off the dead minnows and throwing the bodies in the holes, sinking them.
Yeah, the fish were eating good.
Kept doing that to each
They
other.
weren't eating on our hooks, but they were eating good that day.
That's probably why. We're just like, well...
What was on that we both caught? What was it? Was it a minnow body that came? I mean, that thing
No,
was
it
hauling.
was a fucking Zen package.
Was it?
No, it was
No,
that...
it wasn't.
What was it?
It was that piece of jerky thing that was in the bag.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And it literally hit the bottom in like 2 seconds.
Yeah,
At
because you
60
spilled
feet.
the bag of jerky too.
Yeah.
We couldn't keep anything in our hands.
No.
No, just...
We need to put like a grate over the hole because we're just too clumsy to like.
I'd say
To
Riley
function?
could reiterate that statement by saying Riley needs to put a grate over.
Oh, I
all
didn't
of our-
accidentally drop the jerky thing in there.
Okay, well. Oh, shit.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Sean, why don't you tell us what we got going on today?
We got a banger of an episode today.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean-
It comes off like a shit show right off the bat, but
It
it's
sure does.
gonna be
We
good.
just had a little recap of our ice fishing content that we promised you to bring that we will not be giving you.
Yeah.
Because there is none.
There literally is none. But banger of an episode.
I'm sure if you wanted to see 3 guys in an ice hut, there's a website for that, and this is not that website.
Anyway, we have the man, the myth, the legend, the German prodigy, Sven Jeuschede, as our guest today.
Happy to be here.
Nice, Sven.
Good, man.
So, Sven, we wanted to have you on the podcast mainly because well, you're a friend, first of all, and this is supposed to be
Yep.
for friends of the podcast. But second of all, when did you move here?
2015.
2015. So, and this would be the first year that you got your hunting license in
Yep.
America?
Yep.
Okay. Did you hunt in Germany previously?
Nope.
No.
Never hunted before.
So what got you into hunting and interested in starting that adventure?
Honestly, kind of meeting Sean and Ramsey got me into hunting a little bit more. I mean, I've gotten more interested in hunting like probably the last year or so, just watching different stuff, following people on social media, like following Joe Rogan and then Cameron Haynes, people like that. I just really like intriguing guys. And
They're definitely motivational because
yeah,
they shoot
definitely.
monster bulls.
They do all right.
Oh, okay, Riley.
Well, I just sound like such a fanboy, dude. But like the best content, dude. Eric Chesser's putting out the best fucking content every year. The dude shoots giant bulls every year.
Well,
Rogan does okay, but I mean, he's got Cam Haynes is like,
nah.
I mean, he has that like in his back pocket.
I will say we have talked about Sven on the cast before, and I want to hear it from Sven's side of his actual first experience and day of hunting. I mean, how was that for you?
That was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was awesome.
So you guys went out before I went out with all 4 of you or 3 of you,
Opening weekend, wasn't it?
Yeah, it
It was
was.
the first time.
and you guys were targeting
Mule deer.
mule deer. Okay. What exactly? Well, just tell us kind of like from the beginning as a first time hunter in America. I mean, the way I'm imagining things is like this terrain has to be a little different than you're used to at home. Did you do like hiking and stuff at home and
Yeah,
like camping?
Yeah, I've always been like
So you've been
into
outdoorsy?
outdoor stuff, camping, hiking, all that kind of stuff. But hunting is not really a big thing.
Right.
Is it pretty hard to get a license?
It is. I mean, it's pretty restricted.
Sure.
Guns in general, it's like hard to get
Right.
because our just gun control is just
Right.
a lot bigger back home. So not many people own guns. And then I don't even know a lot about hunting back home. I think we talked about it
A little bit. Yeah.
and then I actually looked it up myself because I didn't really know. But there's like a whole like year-long process of getting like
certified.
hunting certified. And then I think there's just not a lot of land where you can actually go do it. And,
Yeah, that makes sense.
You know, and all the animals you can shoot. I think it's just.
So what do they even have in Germany?
Yeah,
Different types of deer.
They have red deer, I think. They have
to have bird hunting, I would guess.
Yeah,
I think we looked at all kinds of different
Jesus.
deer. Mule deer,
I was
think,
looking it
too.
up.
yeah, they have mule deer.
Sorry to interrupt, Sven. But first of all, if Ramsey doesn't stop fucking burping in my face, I am going to drop that can over your forehead.
You don't even know.
Do you
his
not
name.
smell that?
No.
The shit is
He's
rancid.
probably smelling his own feet, dude.
No, man. This
Don't
is straight.
use that good German can.
Yeah.
Come
Hey,
Yeah.
whoa.
Oh, yeah, my
You
bad, my
can't
bad, my
say
bad.
Sven was graceful enough
He
to bring
smuggled
us
these illegal.
I had to get these through customs. Okay.
Yeah, okay,
Where do you
okay.
think you put him?
Okay. Sorry, back to Sven. So I guess as like a native Montana and someone's hunted my whole life, I have a perspective of like every time I go out in the morning, like what I know I'm going to experience and stuff.
Right.
What was it like for you to come out? Like, obviously you're coming into the dark to a place you've never been with really unknown expectations, I would assume.
Yeah.
Like, what was it like for you that morning, that first morning? Like, what were you expecting and what like surprised you that morning?
Honestly, first of all, I thought it was really like peaceful, just going out early in the morning. Just like being outdoors, just that early, you know, sun isn't even up yet, and just kind of like hanging out outside and just kind of checking out the terrain and everything. And then I didn't really know how like everything like goes down, you know. I didn't really know the whole process of like kind of like checking out with the binos, like all the deer, whatnot, all the animal. Maybe you see something and you stop with your ranger and whatnot, and then check out the animals. I didn't really know anything, to be honest with you.
Just kind of went in blind.
Kind of just went in blind because I just, you know, I've gotten interested in doing it, and you like hearing you guys talk about it when we would hang out just kind of got me a little
jazzed.
So
jazzed. And
did you guys see anything that morning?
That was probably the most deer we saw.
We had
Oh, really?
a hell of a day.
Oh man.
It
Do
was.
you want me to?
well, to be honest with you, those two, they got me really excited. They were like, "Yeah, you're gonna shoot something." Like,
No.
definitely gonna shoot something.
In our
Like,
defense,
it's
I
gonna
mean-
be, and I was like so jacked. And then the whole day didn't quite go.
It was
as
more or
planned.
less, I would say, would you guys agree, it was like a long string of 1 or 2 seconds that
Disappointment.
didn't work out for us?
Did you make any stalks or?
Oh yeah, we spent
The hardest
4
stalk
hours.
on a mule deer I've ever done in my life.
Oh, really?
So there's kind of this area where it's like a little oasis of trees, right in the middle of a wheat field, and it's a low spot that you can't see from anywhere else. And there was a herd of 15 bachelor herd, about
So,
15 bucks, and they're all right in the middle of this. And I'm like, well, let's just walk up to the top of this hill and see what we can get. And we get up to the top of this hill, and here's this just beautiful 4x4. And I'm like, Sven, that's your deer right there. That's your deer. And we get the gun all set up, and I'm like, all right, Sean, let's get a range. What was it? 395?
Yeah.
395, 400. Sven hasn't shot a rifle that much.
Yeah, that's a poke, dude.
Yeah.
And that is a definite, like, that's a big thing with, like, somebody coming in new and, like, with hunting. Like, you kind of got to, like, shoot a lot and get comfortable with it because, I mean, like, how honestly were you feeling on that? Like he was just saying, like, at that 400 yards. I mean, like, in your mind, were you, like, comfortable with that or?
I wasn't quite comfortable, to be
Sure.
honest. Like, I was pretty nervous at that range because, as you guys said, I hadn't shot that much.
Yeah.
And, you know, first time hunting especially, like, I want to make sure that when I get my shot off that it's going to be deadly and it's going to
Right.
be good. I don't want to hurt the animal and then, you know, it just runs off. And
Yeah, I'd say probably like if you think about like yourself, Ramsey, you've been shooting guns since you were like 6.
4.
Think about like even like through like when you were little.
Competitively since I was 8.
Well, like think about like even like you're doing Cub Scouts and as a kid, you're shooting BB guns and stuff. Like for you to make a 400-yard shot is is still not easy, first of all.
Right. There's a lot of factors into it.
So yeah, I would say like for someone that's first like beginning, like under 200-yard shot would be like an ideal situation, like a lot more stalking, a lot more.
Is that something that you like at like at 200 yards? Is that what you were kind of like in your head, kind of plot or paint a picture?
250, I think. I mean, the last time we went out to shoot before that, I felt pretty comfortable after that because I shot.
And he did well too.
Yeah.
Shot pretty well, I think, for what I'm capable of.
Well, along with hunting, did you shoot any guns at home, or is this also like your first?
No, the first time I shot a gun was. I didn't even shoot a gun. I think my first year when I came here, maybe 2016 or something. First time when I just kind of with some friends.
Yeah, you guys need to get them out and shoot some more different guns too. We shot a shotgun yet?
I actually haven't.
That's gonna have to change.
That'll be good.
Ramsey's been shooting traps since he was 8 years old, and he can't even get his friends out to shoot shotguns.
Well, I don't want to go do something that I do for a hobby.
Yeah, it's not really the season for that either.
No.
And I think we kind of all agreed on this, that just because of how like, indifferent Sven is from us until he came to like join us as friends, and like we came to like our hobbies and all that kind of stuff. We kind of wanted to make this an After Dark mixed with an interview because Sven's got some cool shit. He's got cool story on how, he came to sit in that chair.
Yeah, I know. This does kind of seem like an interview, but I have so many like interesting questions.
I know.
Like really, this is like, it's like our life. It feels normal. All this stuff feels normal,
Right.
But for you, it's like a whole new experience. Like you've not only never hunted, but you've only like the hunting you've done has only been for mule deer and like.
Right.
Do you have a cow tag? No. So it's just mule deer. Like there is like dozens of other kinds of hunting too. Isn't that pretty crazy to think about? It's like, no, it's pretty cool. So did you kind of finish up on that day?
So we're chilling, looking at these deer, and we're like, man, how do we get closer? And so Sean devises this plan. He's like, let's
Yonder.
army crawl 150 yards.
No, it wasn't that bad. I will. Okay, it turned into that, but at first, the terrain we were hunting in was just. You'd think it's the Bull Mountains, so you're like, oh, there's a spot where I can glass there. Nope, you can't. I mean, it's just like everything you think of that you can do on like, oh, the next knob. It's like complete opposite of your exact, perfect scenario.
Right.
And so that kind of happened to us when we got on that hill after, because obviously walking behind that hill, we had cover, but to pop up to get our eyes back on them, we had to, get down. And the first angle we had was not very good. It was not very good. No. And we glassed the one deer and Sven glassed the same deer, and he made the decision that's the deer he wanted to go for. So that's what we were doing. And when we got up there, it was just like
gone.
And then, we're like sitting there the whole time. We could see the other bucks with him, and we're like, he's in there. It's just where? And we're like, well, can we go left? Do we have the cover? Should we go right? No, the wind's bad. We can't go straight. And what were we on that knob? What did you say we were, like
75 yards to the farthest deer.
On that knob right by the tracks, right? The first time we got on them.
400.
Yeah. And then when we kept moving, and then that's when the army crawl came into play because we're like, we have no cover here.
We're in a wheat field.
And I'm pretty sure it was like a yard sale on the ground behind us because you left your bino harness. Sven took his sweatshirt off. Yeah. My hunting pack was laying back there. It was just a trail of us just lightening up. It was funny.
It was a good time.
And I don't know, I could definitely tell that Sven was excited.
Oh, yeah.
He didn't complain one time.
No. We're crawling through like nasty shit.
Damn cactus and
seriously.
I was really excited, man.
I just kept looking at him, and he's got.
And I will say,
I was just fun. Adrenaline rush.
As seasoned as I am in the deer hunting world, I did ruin this one opportunity. So we get to a spot, and all these deer bedded down. and they're obviously not going to move because the wind's blowing. So we sat there for about 20 minutes, and I'm like, I'm just gonna kind of pop over this piece of sagebrush and see if I can make them nervous. Maybe they'll bunch up again, and you'll have a shot at them. I shit you not. There is some juniper trees to my left. I pop up over the sagebrush, and this deer that Sven is after, that we're after, is 25 yards to our left where we couldn't see him. Immediately takes off. It was like scaring a bull elk out of the timber. He just gone. All of them.
Yeah. And how was that first hunting experience heartbreak for you?
It was pretty tough because I was just expecting. Honestly, I think me personally, I was expecting to shoot something.
Right.
But I feel like now, like hearing you guys talk about it and just like getting into it a little more often than not, you don't shoot something.
Absolutely.
100%.
And just the hunt itself, it's the fun part. And then just the camaraderie. Just
Me and
hanging
Sean
out with
might have
the
had
guys.
something to do with the fact that you thought you
Yeah.
were just going to...
You guys
Go
hype
out
it up
there.
a little bit.
We did. I mean, because the year before was a good year.
Well, and like he was just saying, I think that kind of explains really the best part of, like, he got to experience the best part of hunting, and that's not shooting. That's, like he said, the experience itself. You'll have a memory that you'll
Right.
be able to have for the rest of your life, and you didn't even involve harvesting an animal.
For sure.
And did you, like, that moment when he was getting up and there was a solid chance that you were going to get a shot, you were set up on the gun, you were in a good position, good rest. Did you get excited? Like, did you get a buck fever?
I did.
You did?
I definitely did. I mean, I was very
Sean's
close
an
to
expert in this, so he
pulling
knows what
the
he's
trigger.
talking about.
No, I did for sure. I mean, that just adrenaline rush and just kind of like getting amped up, getting excited. It was definitely there.
Yeah, you'll find out that like when you take your first shot on something, that because you've been shooting, when you guys went out shooting, did you guys use ear protection?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you wouldn't have been hunting, correct? Or
No.
did you? Some people do. Some new beginners will wear like ear.
I don't think
That adrenaline will
we
be
were.
so high
Right.
when you shoot, you won't even know that you shot your gun.
Yeah.
But it's a matter of like getting those nerves down to
Yeah.
make the shot. But it's a crazy feeling.
That's what I'm just really curious about still. Like I've experienced now the hunt, like everything leading up to it, but not executing it.
Yeah.
How I actually feel when I make that
Yeah,
shot.
so if
like what it actually feels like to put down it like an animal.
right, if
you
it
know?
like hits your feelings a different way than you would
Right.
have expected,
Right.
or I mean,
it's definitely like it's not something you can practice for.
no,
In no way.
and it's something that like I mean, realistically, we talked last week. 5% of U.S. people have hunting license. 1% of the population has probably experienced like a besides like
And out of
besides serial killers and stuff like like a true like ethical
Right.
real spiritual killing of an animal,
Yeah.
something that you're going to use to butcher, harvest, feed your family
yeah.
and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
And out of all the animals that I've taken, it's been a different experience every time.
Oh, absolutely.
You never get the same one twice.
Right.
So
What was the big thing that really like? Because I know for a while when we would like do like dart nights and stuff, we would talk about hunting,
Mhm.
and like in the beginning, you would like talk with us just like
Right.
just cause and just like kind of chime in, and then it kind of like 1 week it just like flipped, and you were like, "Holy shit, you guys are pissing me off because I want to do this with you guys." Like, what was that switch?
I honestly don't know. Like I couldn't tell you right now. But what I can tell you, so I think before I like got into like hunting and like hanging out with you guys, I kind of had a false perspective on hunting a little bit. Like, like hunting, like you just said, like respecting the hunt, like ethical hunt, and like you harvest the animal, like feed yourself, feed your family. Like that's awesome. Like that's what it's about, right? And like sometimes I think I was thinking about the people who do it like in an unethical way, like poachers and all those
sure.
kind of people who do it and just shoot the animal to shoot it.
Yeah, they're
You
killers.
know,
They're
just
not
killers.
hunters.
They're not hunters. They don't care about the animal, don't care about, harvesting the animal. So sometimes not, especially before I came to Montana, like before I kind of just got into like hanging out with people like you, I feel like I had a little like false perspective on it.
And so you're gonna sit here and tell me that Ramsey and I changed that perspective for you?
No, I mean, no.
No, I mean not
right.
us hunting, but like us talking about it.
Right. I didn't have quite that perspective anymore.
Okay.
Like before I met you guys, but like just meeting you guys and hanging out with you and you guys talking about it and just getting so excited about
you were
all of that
jacked up.
stuff.
You were jacked up.
Like, and you guys just the excitement and like smile on your faces, like just talking about hunting and like everything that goes into it and stuff like that. And obviously, like I still don't know like most of the terminology that goes, when we're hunting and like.
Dude, we should have done a terminal like
we're glassing this or whatever,
What do they call that? Like a slang quiz for Sven.
We should have.
Sven, what is a dink?
I have no idea.
Oh man.
Every deer Riley's ever shot.
Oh my God, this guy again. No, that would have been fun though.
What up?
So I mean, I think a good chunk covering on Sven getting into hunting and stuff like that. I mean, I just would I want to know, like, you've obviously, you didn't grow up in the States.
Nope.
You grew up in Germany, but you have lived your adult life both here and in Germany.
Yep.
You know what it's like to grow. I mean, you've seen people grow up, heard stories from us grow up in the States. What is what is life like growing up in Germany compared to just daily stuff? Like what really is like differences?
That's a hard thing to say, hard thing to answer. I mean, the way I grew up, just around sports, like doing sports my whole life pretty much, and like that was kind of like the main focus, school and sports. What I can say is that like Germany, like it's a free country too, like we have freedom, right? But what I always the different kind of feeling I have when I'm here is that the freedom that you have here, it's more like an adventurous, risk-taking kind of freedom per se. So like more people like, opening starting your own business, that kind of stuff, taking risks like that. Germany, it's more like, hey, I want to everything planning into the future, that I'm secure and safe, that I have a good retirement, that I have, all this extra money put aside, and everything is a little more planned out, a little more safe, the kind of lifestyle you're living.
Right.
So that's especially Montana. It's just kind of just open wide and just kind of
fly by the seat of your pants.
Yeah, you just kind of, it's just a really relaxed lifestyle. I feel like when I'm here, it's just this is chill. This is just fun and adventurous, enjoyable lifestyle.
And Sven definitely has got his childhood growing up that you would go to other countries all the time.
All the time. I mean, my parents, they're really free spirited, open minded people, and we would always travel all over the place. We used to have a motorhome growing up, so we used to go to Spain, France, the Netherlands.
Jeez.
I don't know, Italy. We're all those places all the time.
And that's a short drive kind of?
Depends. I mean, when we would go to Spain, it would be a 2-day trip, but we would have a motorhome, so we just kind of stop
Jeez.
on a rest stop and sleep, and go the rest of the way the next day. And my dad's a big windsurfer, so we'd always hit up the big windsurfing spots. So we'd always go to the ocean.
I gotta ask you this now that you brought that up. Now that you've done both, what do you like better, the ocean or mountains?
I mean, we do have mountains in Germany
Right.
too, and I grew up hiking a lot too because my both of my parents like love to go up to the mountains, go hike and stuff. But I've actually thought about that quite a bit. That's a really tough question to answer. I honestly could not choose.
You couldn't do it?
No, I could not. That's tough. The thing is, I just grew up around the ocean. I just spent so much time at the ocean, more than in the mountains. And now, like living here, obviously close to the mountains.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, like, how many times have you guys been to the ocean? I think I've been once.
A dozen maybe.
I mean,
5 times.
yeah. I mean, it's cool. It's almost like we're forced to like the mountains, you know? It's like, hey, well, they're in your backyard. Better go play with them.
I would say I love the ocean. The one time a year I would be able to go.
That shit scares me.
I love big unknown.
I mean, don't they say like we know more about like the moon than we do like the actual bottom of the
yeah.
ocean? Like
Probably.
that shit freaks me out,
Oh
man.
yeah.
Jeez.
I think that's a
You're
lot.
probably one of those kids that gets scared in a swimming pool and the water's too dark.
no.
So growing up, you did sports, right? And
Oh, yeah.
knowing you're a basketball coach currently. I assume that was your main sport.
It was, but I grew up playing soccer.
Okay.
Like a lot of kids in
Okay.
Germany because that's.
And there's not a lot of American football,
Oh
where
no,
you're at.
no.
No.
I mean it's gotten bigger
right?
in recent years, but
Yeah, because I would
No,
say
not really.
Sven's kind of the opposite of like sports realm as the three of us were, because we all did football
Yeah, none of us played basketball. And
and none of us
I mean, I
did
played
soccer.
basketball
Well, I mean, I
at
played.
Titan
I
Middle
loved
School.
soccer.
Right.
Even when I was playing,
I was like the Pele of my Thunderbolts when I was like 5, but
I did some co-ed soccer when I was a freshman, even when, like in the spring. I liked playing it.
So what's this like structure? Because obviously like
right.
you know like what high school basketball is like here.
Yeah.
So like what's the structure compared to like Germany?
So we don't have any school sports, so it's all club sports back home.
Oh, really?
So
That's interesting.
it's all separate. So it's not like, you know, you're going to school till 2-3 o'clock and then same building you have practice. Like that's not how it goes. Like your team, your club you play for, it's usually, you know, somewhere else, like another town.
Jeez.
So when you're in,
something like that.
and then is your high school? I'm assuming you're set up differently than ours is. Like,
Yeah,
is there grades?
there is. So I mean, elementary school is 1st through 4th grade.
Okay.
And then it goes straight into like secondary school, which just 5th grade through. So it still is in some states, I believe, that they go until 13th grade, actually.
Okay.
I was actually the first class that only went till 12th grade. So I graduated. I had a huge graduating class because I was the first class that only went to 12, but the year before me still went to 13, so we graduated together.
Oh wow.
So
Oh,
it was
wow.
like, I don't know, 1,500 people.
Holy cow.
I
Jeez,
like,
what do we have? Like 300, 350?
Our class was like 405
I
or
like
something.
didn't even know.
So Sven
A lot of
didn't
those
get to
kids.
experience like having your college football or high school football coach as a teacher and like making
Yeah.
sure that you have passing grades.
Yeah.
Or
No
like
shit.
if you missed like weightlifting in the morning and they pass you in the hall and then you just get your ass chewed. So
Yeah.
you didn't get to experience
No,
that at all. Huh?
not at all.
You're lucky.
Wow, that's
You're
interesting.
very lucky.
It's all separate.
I bet it would be like a little bit. Well, I'm sure you guys put as much effort into it as sports as we do here, or if not more.
Right.
But you wouldn't have to. It seemed like when you're in high school, you do a sport and you're there all day long. You're at the school from the time the sun comes up to the time it goes down. So it's interesting to hear. Like, I'm assuming you had to travel from
Oh, yeah.
school to practice, and you had to be there by a certain time. And
Yep.
if you got late, I'm sure you were running or something.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and I started playing basketball when I was 10 years old, played soccer before that. And I like just played in like for a small town team, which was like 15 minutes from my whole hometown until I was like 14, I think. And then I went to play for a different club, which was like a more like, accomplished like club, just like a like well-known like name in Germany. So I started playing for them because they also had like higher level leagues that I could play for. Like you have like different youth leagues and like level within those leagues, or within those grades that you can play. So like that's why I went to play for like that different club, which was like a 30 minute drive away from home.
So would you say like your school was definitely just super focused on education and education only? That's where you got educated, and then if you had the ability to make it, you on your own went and did sports as a whole secluded different thing.
Yeah, it's all secluded different thing. And like as you said, like my football coach was also my teacher. Like, and then obviously he understands like sport and education to juggle that. Since everything is like separate, it's like a lot of teachers in your school, they're like, I don't care if you do sports. Like if you don't do good in school, I don't care if it has to do with you doing sports and like putting a lot of time into that. Like it doesn't matter to me. Like they don't care because it's not like what they're like focused on, and like because it doesn't have like anything to do with each other.
Right. Okay. And so to follow up on your basketball career, so after you went to that new league, where did you move on from there?
So with that being said, I actually went to different high school in 10th grade. So the club I played for was in another town. It's like 30 minutes away from my hometown. So I went to a high school there for 3 years because that high school had a part-time boarding school because they were like an more like athletically oriented school. So I went to that school so I could better combine basketball and school. Sure. Because I would go to school all day and then I would go to that part-time boarding school, which was like walking distance from my practice facility. So I'd go there, have lunch, do my homework, and they would have like tutors for us and all that kind of stuff that would help us with our academic endeavors. And then I would just walk over to practice at night. My mom would pick me up, and then I would take the train at like 6 a.m. every morning to go to school.
And is that like...
And then every day it was just from 6 a.m. till 8 p.m.
And can everybody do that? Or is that like something that you're what, you'd be 14 or 15 at the time? Are you doing that, right? Or maybe...
Oh, when I went to different school, I was 10th grade. So I was like 16.
16. So like as a 16-year-old, you obviously are old enough to know what sport you like. Right. And like, is that a thing where you have to like make the team? Or is that like you could show up to that school and, want to play basketball and only have a few years under your belt and then, play? And then obviously, like you said, because that school is mainly for basketball and school.
Right. I mean, that school, it's still the basketball part or their sports part was still not included in the school. Okay. Like the club was still separate from the school. It was just a school that had more like athletic connections and like gave you like had a little more acknowledgement for like athletes because they were not only basketball players like me, they were soccer players, like judo fighters. There was like fencers, like all kinds of people, honestly. And they would go to that school because they would do their sport on a high level too. And they like needed that like extra support because it's not like a high school. Like it kind of went towards more of like an American high school system because of that way, because it was easier to combine. So like that's what they like were trying to accomplish, but it was still separate.
So obviously you did well. You passed your classes.
I did.
Maybe every once in a while dunk basketball. Maybe.
Yeah. So right now you're college basketball coach, women's coach, right? Assistant coach. Yep. Tell us the gap between high school ending for you and getting to where you're at right now. Like, where did your life take you to cross the ocean to get here?
Right.
That's the big question.
Yeah,
I think we've all been sitting.
Yeah,
somebody fucking ask him that.
I'm very interested in that.
So I've always it was always been a dream of mine to go play college basketball in the U.S. My brother actually was a shot putter at Iowa State for 4 years. So both him and I were always were really we really wanted to go to the US and have that college experience, because we always, from the outside looking in, it's oh, this is just amazing. This is so cool. Just like the sports, how much attention sports gets.
Mm-hmm.
But for myself, so after I graduated high school, I had one more year of 19U National League left to play. So I did that year. Actually, for that year, I moved 6 hours down south from my hometown to play for a different team, because that team I played for that year, they were a basketball academy, and they had a professional second league team as well. So I was able to play 19U National League for one of the best teams in the country, and also practice with the professional team, and even play a little bit with the professional team. So, and big reason for me moving there as well was one of my he's my mentor. He growing up, he was just I met him when I was 14 years old. He's been my mentor, basketball wise, just always been around for me. He moved down there a year before me to coach, so he was a big reason why I went there as well. Anyways, I went to play there, and while playing 19U and also practicing playing with the professional team, I did a free voluntary year for that club. That meant I went around town to different elementary schools, did camps and stuff like that. I coached a 14U team, and just helped with all kinds of different stuff around the club. And I just lived with a couple of my teammates in in an apartment. So, and we were really, really good that year. We went undefeated, and sure enough, we lost the final game of the season the championship.
Real fairy tale ending.
In the championship, that was heartbreaking, but that was still an amazing experience. And another reason actually why I went there was the coach for the professional team has really good connections to college coaches in the US. So I wanted him to help me get to where I wanted to be, to go play college sports in the US. But still, after that year, it didn't really work out for me. And I tried they have these different organizations, this one was called scholarship or something, that help you build a resume and highlight tape, blah blah blah, to help you go play college sports. But it still didn't work out for me. I mean, I was a good player, but I was not major talent. I was not a D1 talent where everybody comes to look at,
gets
and stuff
the limelight,
that, you know. So I just always had to work extra hard to get where I wanted to be. So it still didn't work out after that year. So I decided to go play Pro B, which is the first professional level in Germany. So you have Pro B, Pro A, and then the BBL, which is the Bundesliga, which is the highest level. So you have those three, which are the three professional levels. So I played 1 year just Pro B basketball. And I was 19 years old, and I just had a really good year. And then I was fortunate enough to meet in Montana State Billings alum at one of my games when I played for that Pro B team, because one of my teammates knew him, and he was like, hey, go talk to him after the game. He might be able to help you out to go play college ball. And I was like, okay, cool. So I talked to him after the game, and he contacted the coach at MSUB because they played together back in the day at MSUB, in the late.
What a small world, MSUB guy in Germany.
Late 90s, early 2000s, they played together. So the guy I talked to, he lives in Germany, but he's both American and German because his dad was American. So yeah, like that's just how, got the ball rolling, and he talked to the coach at MUCB, and he liked what he was looking at, and offered me a scholarship, and that's how I got here.
Was your highlight tape just a bunch of like 2-hand jams?
I wish. No.
What?
I wish. Hey, you can look it up. It's still on YouTube.
Oh, we're gonna have to do
It's
that
from
one.
like 2014, 15,
Oh,
So what year did you graduate high school?
2013.
Oh, dude, same.
Hell yeah, man. I know. Definitely didn't take the normal route.
Yeah.
No, I wasn't an 18-year-old freshman. I was a 20-year-old freshman. I actually turned 21 my freshman year.
Oh.
you know what's funny though?
Way different than
Y'all are still closer to 30 than 25 now.
How you had to been a little pissed off that you moved here when you were 20 and you couldn't drink.
Oh my
coming
God,
from Germany.
Oh, yeah,
That
because
was-
you can drink at, what, 18 there?
16. actually.
16.
Yeah.
He had
Yeah.
5
Shit.
years under his belt
I guess
before
it's-
he came here.
Yeah, so you can drink like beer and wine when you're 16, and then like all the hard liquor when you're 18, like everything else.
That's
So yeah, but to answer your question, like when I first moved here, and I wasn't able to buy alcohol at the store, and I was 20 years old, I was like, what the hell is going on?
was it like months or like a full year that you had to wait to be 21?
I turned 21 in the spring. So yeah, like a whole semester. Yeah, first semester I couldn't.
Jeez.
Yeah,
Meanwhile, Lee and Sean,
Well, that's fair.
19 years old, walking out with a case.
Well, it's just like the rest of us. You had to have a couple years of
No,
college.
that
without-
never happened.
No, that never happened. We're good kids.
But yeah, that's
you
just
poor
like
city college guys. Though.
that's
You don't really get it.
whoa.
Sorry, who? Raise your hand if you have a college degree in this room.
Oh.
My
About to
point
have
being
two.
is
About to
like
have two.
you didn't get to stay in dorms and shit.
Oh,
You didn't get
Sean
experience.
I never did.
You never did.
No.
did. When you went to Butte.
No.
You didn't stay indoors?
No, I lived in an apartment with my brother.
Hey,
Your brother lives there.
I may not have a degree, but I have more years of college than you.
That's not a flex.
That's not. That's not. That's why we started a podcast.
There you go. There you go. It might bring you in more than a college degree.
Hey, who
Yeah.
knows? Well,
Never know.
Who knows?
That's like honestly like it's like you couldn't make up that story.
No.
I mean seriously.
no, I love it.
Like that's just crazy.
And now he's a hunter in Montana.
yeah, now he's
Now he's stuck here.
he was talking about wanting to go ice fishing too.
Really?
Yeah.
Now, was
I
there?
would love to try
have you
that.
fished ever?
Well, I've went fishing before,
No.
and I like fly fished for the first time with those two
In the backyard.
and run
backyard.
a little bit.
Yeah.
But no, like I fished a few times, but never like.
We tied a weight to his fly line
A
and
lot.
he was casting.
No, it's
But no, just,
I think you've come accustomed to a lot of like I would say more so like a Montana based
Yeah.
hobbies. I feel like you've kind of like
and
picked
I've always really enjoyed like being outdoors and doing outdoorsy
so
stuff.
it's an easy pickup for you.
It's
I'm
definitely
sure.
an easy pickup just to like no, and especially after not playing basketball anymore. I'm just discovering so many more things just that I love doing.
Well, let me ask you this: would you say, and I think we can all kind of relate to this, as people, we all grew up in sports. I did a year of college football. Obviously, you played basketball. Sean and Ramsey both could have played college if they wanted to.
Hey man.
No, I'm being honest.
Sean
with
played
you.
college hockey.
I played a little
Oh,
puck.
it's college hockey,
I
and
played
then
a little puck in the day.
yeah, and then Ramsey broke his arm, so he didn't go play college ball. The way I look at like outdoor activities anymore, because we get into stuff. We're into stuff more than even just hunting. I mean, recently we've been like really getting into like setting my truck up to like I put all these like drawers and stuff in it to be able to go camping
Right.
and fishing at the same time. Regardless, but I think as people that grew up doing sports, you did something that was it was rewarding at points. Like you had points of where you felt self accomplishment, and you're used to that kind of lifestyle. And I think like Montana really gives you activities where you get a sense of like self accomplishment, and like hunting, fishing. When you catch a fish, or when you harvest an animal, or you go hiking, or you go.
What would you guys like? I mean, honestly, like off the top of your heads, what would you guys say that the number like when you think of now that Sven is in this world too, when you guys think of doing something like hunting, fishing, or whatever, what is the one thing that like makes you really want to do it? Like, have you ever thought about that? Like, is it just being outside, or like, is it just the idea of the hobby, or
It's the experience. It's honestly like everything you do to get to the point of where you want to be, whether you succeed or fail, it's still fun.
oh yeah,
And it's something I'd do again, and I'd fail every year to have the same experiences that I had this year.
I don't know about you guys, but like when we like make a plan to go do something, like whether it's hunting, fishing, hiking, anything, the night before we do that, I'm like
jazzed.
I can't sleep. Like
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
just like the whole time I'm like
You're like a little
it's
kid
like
again when,
thinking-
you,
yeah,
when you're
it's
thinking of
it's
like
awesome.
I mean, dude, the first time I went out hunting with you guys, like the night
Dude, he
before.
told us. You remember that? Because
Like,
he was
dude,
sitting. Because
yes.
you were late that morning. And he
I-
was sitting in there, and he's like
yeah,
texting me. He's like, "Where the fuck is Sean?" And I'm like, "Dude, I don't know. You better."
I
come on."
remember. That was for like the night before the first time I went out. I had a dream. I think I told you about that. I was laying in my bed, and I had a dream that there was a deer in my backyard.
oh,
In my backyard, and then I got up and had a rifle in my hand, and like was like shooting it.
That's
nice.
it. Jeez.
And I've never hunted before. Just that, having that
wow. That's a
set in my mind.
So, do you
That's
think this is
awesome.
something you're going to continue for the time you're here? And
yes, definitely.
I don't know how long you plan on staying in the
Definitely.
States.
I
but-
mean, as of right now, I'm not planning to leave. So.
right. So cool. Well, I
Yeah.
really hope we can get back out again next year.
Oh, for
I
sure.
got to go with you guys as a group one time.
Yeah.
I wasn't there.
No,
Yeah,
it was
Sean
Garrett.
wasn't there.
Yeah.
Sean wasn't there.
No.
It was
No, he
Garrett.
was
So-
there, yeah.
Now I'm trying to think back. The one time that we saw elk on the one property, was that with
He was not
that
there.
was Garrett and Sean.
that was
Yeah.
Garrett and Sean? Okay,
Yeah.
so he didn't get to see elk. That's unfortunate.
But like going back to your question about like why we like to do this. I feel like we all played sports. We all come from like team sports background as well. And just going out with friends who like to do the same thing. And as you said, Ramsey, like even experiencing like failure. Like we are used to like experiencing failure in sports too.
Oh yeah.
And we still love it. Like you lose a basketball game, you lose a football game. Like you still love the sport. You still love to do it. So like I think that's just like a big part.
I think so
Of it, too.
I think it like creates. I mean, honestly, I think when we go out and we don't see anything, and we don't catch fish, we don't harvest anything. I feel like that builds almost better memories. I mean, obviously, you go out and shoot
I
it.
think it does because you focus more on what you did. And
Little things.
Little things.
Little things. I remember we had a conversation about this on one of our dart nights. We got real philosophical.
Yeah.
The three of us. We were sitting in there,
Because when you shoot something, you're like, that's what I'm focused on.
Oh,
I'm focused on the
And
story
that's-
of how I shot that.
That's like part of being a competitor too.
yeah.
Like you just competitive in what you're
Jade.
doing, and like you want to get better. Like you want to
Yeah.
learn from it, and like you enjoy. Like, why did I not like succeed this time?
Right.
Why
And-
did I not like? And then you focus on these details. You talk
Yeah.
about these little details, and that's how you get better. And that's like as we all are. I feel like competitive people
Right.
from sports background, and now like carrying
You want to
this
get
with
better
us
at,
into
at
like
being
whatever
a
we do.
sportsman.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
so, like the question we had, I want to ask Riley this because he wasn't there. It's like you can relate it to sports, outdoors, literally anything you do. But why do you think we remember the bad times more than the good times? I mean, think about it. How many times
do
can you
remember
remember
this
you made an awesome play in football versus a time you made a shitty play in
I don't know.
football?
I used to be pretty egotistical. No, I'm just kidding.
Used to?
I
I mean, you know
that's a
what I'm
hard
saying,
question for
right?
me because my mind and my body is so into being an outdoorsman anymore that I like really hold on to every aspect of like I could almost tell you every hunt that I went on this season, and I went to one place for like 11 straight days. I went with you guys probably a total of 7 or 8 days. Sorry, we have the labs in here with us today. And if you see me looking around and snapping, they're just being rambunctious. But anyways, I don't know if I really would say that failures I notice as much as like to go along with this. I really find that like 40% of my being is like every time I'm out hunting, you're seeing a same animal in a different way every time. Like you're seeing stuff that especially like when I'm like elk hunting for archery season, you're seeing shit that so little people really have seen on this planet. Yeah. Being in on a screaming bull elk, when you're out.
I used to have a really good story to like back up what you just said there, because like I was fishing by myself on the west side of the state, and nobody was around me, and I was standing in the middle of a river fly fishing, and there was big rocks behind me, and I wasn't catching shit, but I watched a bald eagle come off the rocks into the water and bring a fish out of the river and take off. And I was thinking about it. How many people in their lifetimes do you think have ever seen something like that happen?
Yeah, that's the best part of like Montana and hunting and outdoors as a whole, is like you're experiencing this crazy stuff that like you'll remember that like photographic thing.
The little things always just
like and I feel like that's a big reason too why I got so excited like about going hunting with you guys, because you, Ramsey, would show me videos of you like when you were out bugling like with those elks and stuff, like in the
and that's something you got to experience, like that, dude.
And they bugle back at you and like stuff like that. You told me like this crazy story with like the wolves or whatever.
Yeah,
you're telling me like those, like I'm like, dang, like that's something.
We need to get Sven up in the mountains. We need to get him out of the prairie.
I have to see.
Dude, you even got to get him like, this is a crazy thing to think of too, like how exciting you can get off of a bird.
Yeah.
Like ducks and geese, when you have ducks and geese coming into decoy spreads and stuff, you get the same adrenaline rush as you would.
Right.
I don't know.
And like, I'm not opposed to trying like any of, like I want to try it all.
Yeah, you should. I think it's good. Even if you're not like Sean this year, he was bow hunting with us, but he hasn't, he didn't bring a bow. He was literally just there to experience learning it, really.
Yeah.
And I mean, you had as much fun as you would have if you would have been had to own your own bow in your hand.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I want to try as much as I can for the time I'm on this freaking
might as experience it all,
man.
dude.
Seriously.
I mean, it's.
But anyways, like to go along with that, like seeing the different, like when I went on that 11-day hunting trip, I saw anywhere from 5 to 30 elk because we would hunt the morning, go have lunch at the lodge, leave the lodge, go hunt the evening. So you basically would have two times a day that you're out trying to do like a really good hunt, try to get like a 4 or 5 hour session in, maybe longer in different situations, whether you're sitting a field or, hiking a backcountry or, just trying to get different situations to get on. We were hunting mule deer and elk, and this particular spot, you couldn't hunt bulls unless you had a special tag. But every day, both those times a day, I would see 5 to 30 different bulls and cows, every day. And it was just like, I love elk, and just to see that every day and to see how one night we're coming up through this one canyon that the deer all funnel into the hayfields. And I have never seen this before. It looked like a flock of birds going under this rim, but they were deer. And what they were doing was there was a coyote in there, and there were 20 does, and I've never seen this before. They were chasing the coyote off. Like they were stomping on it and that's the first time I've ever seen something like that. Right. How many people have seen that? Like just crazy shit like that.
Seriously. I feel like it's just always like a buildup of little things, that continue to like just surprise you. And you're just like, holy shit, this happened, It's
when we go hunting together, would you say, like you get excited to see like different species or not? Like you see a coyote, it's fun. You see
I would say the only species, and Sean can be with me on this one, that I am super not stoked to see are fucking squirrels.
Yeah.
Sean knows exactly what I'm
Do you
talking
think
about.
you're excited to see all these different animals?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Because you love to see these other things and it excites you to see an animal, or because you're not seeing other things?
I honestly, I'm going to say the moment when you're glassing and you get eyes on, at least for me, it's not so much like first thought in my head is like, get up, get ready to shoot. It's more or less just watching them.
Like the elk we saw in the first shoulder hunt.
Yes.
You know what
Just
Ramsey's jerk reaction now is, which
Oh.
is cool for the business, is filming. Like his because I'm the same as you. Is like I'd rather sit there and experience the situation. And they're like, oh shit, maybe I should if I'm gonna kill hunt this thing, do it. But it's nice to have Ramsey around because he's a jerk reaction to the camera anymore.
Is that was this year like your first time like being actually in and like paying attention to animals? You would say like deer. Is that like your first time ever?
Yeah, like you guys were talking, how they move, how they act. Yeah, definitely. I think that was the first time I consciously paid attention to like their movements and like the way they just behave, I guess.
And what was your like first reaction to that? It's just like cool, or like
it was cool actually, like noticing it and like you guys kind of like explaining it and like talking about it. That was like really cool thing to see and like just notice.
yeah.
I like having Sven on here. It makes us sound like really good hunters.
No shit.
I wouldn't discount that we aren't. You know,
Well,
I
it's
think
Josh.
we're all, you know.
Anyway,
pretty
sorry, I kind of
advanced
cut you off there.
Oh, you good.
What was I going to say here? Oh, I think a really cool thing that I thought. So obviously we haven't really addressed it, but Sven, we didn't get to successfully put you on an animal this year,
Right.
which is really a great learning experience for you. Because a lot of people don't shoot things their first year or their second year or their third year. They're still grown men that have never shot bull elk or elk period, you know? And I think the one cool thing that you got to experience this year is a negative aspect of hunting, something that is negative that you can see and learn from.
Mhm.
And that was when I was with you that day, we had, and I don't know if you've heard this story or not, but I'm going to tell it real quick. We had popped up into kind of our, I don't know, not really secret spot anymore. It's more of our just better spot on the property to go hunt. And there's a field up on top of this timber that will hold deer because they'll feed through the field in the morning. And we got up there, and as we're coming down the 2-track to get to another section of the property, a deer runs out in front of us. And it happens to be a pretty decent 4-point. And it was in a weird spot. It was super close to the 2-track. You're really getting close to within like 150, well, maybe a little further than that, like 500 yards of a main road. And once we get there, you know, this deer's in a weird spot. We don't usually see him right next to the 2-track. Well, it had gone up on the hill. We think it's gone. But you and Ramsey end up going up to that spot, and you find this deer, and Ramsey has a video of it, laying in the grass at about like 20 yards.
Yeah.
Well, come to find out after putting a stalk on it, you know, because it was super weird. It was just like, why is it this deer knows we're here? It's not moving. It's just sitting there. Ramsey stood up and walked at it, and it wouldn't do anything. Well, we end up finding is off the main road, there's a state corner section there. And someone, I wouldn't say poached, but made a very unethical decision to jump out of the road, probably illegally shot the deer from the road and hopped in on the property because it had been happened within minutes of us getting there. And what we found out is as Ramsey was walking up to see what, was the deer sick or something, or maybe we could get Sven to shoot this deer.
COVID.
Yeah. It gets up and runs, and it's got a spitting leg.
Did you guys hear a gunshot at all?
No, we just came up, we stumbled upon the situation.
Okay.
And the unfortunate thing is this deer had enough adrenaline. You know, we were all caught off guard. It got up and ran away and got in the timber. We never saw it again.
Right.
Ramsey then goes to where it was bedded, and there's blood everywhere. So then we put 2 and 2 together that someone had made a very poor, because no one else had permission on that property. So just with that negative thing, that is what I would say is a negative thing that happens in hunting. And you got to see, because Ramsey and I have run into poachers before. We ran into unethical hunters. What was that scenario like for you as an outsider to really come across like a borderline illegal situation that someone had done on your hunting property, and to see like an unethical thing happen? Like, what was that like for you?
Like, that's like what I was talking about earlier a little bit. Just kind of like, that's what I like don't like about it, and which like just the hard part, like even like just hurting the animal and like not actually like killing it. That's like personally, like I got like nervous about it the first time I went out like hunting, and like I didn't pull the trigger, but like that's what like was kind of like in the back of my head, just like
as it should be.
No, that's great. I mean, for someone that's just beginning hunting, like your moral compass,
you're not trigger happy,
is very good.
Like I want to make sure that I hit the animal and kill it.
Yeah, it's a fast, quick death.
That I don't just hurt it and it has to suffer. And that's like what's kind of like sad, and what I don't.
And that as like if that
think about it
as a first hunting experience, if that were to happen, that shit tears you apart. It'd be really hard for a guy to come back. I mean, somebody who actually cared and wanted to be ethical, that'd be tough to come back from.
I think if you had been there, you wouldn't have been happy either. I mean, Ramsey and I clearly weren't like, we were like not happy about the situation for many reasons. We don't like, the fact that someone jumps on the property in the first place, they're not supposed to be on it. But to make, that it was a rush shot. They ran from the road. This deer probably wasn't, it was moving. They clipped it in the shoulder and broke its leg. And I mean, it had to have died eventually, but, I don't know. It was just, at this point now, it's cool to look back on having Sven there because I mean, think about it. How many times did you go hunting? 3, 2?
I think it was only 2.
Twice. In those 2 times, Sven gets to experience something that doesn't happen very often, but you can now go forward with the way you act as a hunter and know the situations you don't want to put yourself in.
I feel like even the first time the 3 of us went out, I think the first time when we went up on that little like hump, and then there was this other guy in the car like over to the right, you remember? Mm-hmm. And like we were just like glassing that like group of deer.
Oh yeah.
And then like all of a sudden the shot went off, and like they all ran and was like really close to us. And we were just like, what is that idiot doing?
Oh, yeah, I've definitely been shot at before.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Ramsey's been getting shot at gun range.
And that's the problem with that stuff.
Well, and like I said, just the more and more I get to hear from you is like, you don't really hear that from a lot of beginning people. They don't understand, like moral ethics and stuff. Because a lot of people that, even a lot of people in Montana in this area are just like, all they want to do is kill. And all they want to do is shoot the gun. And they don't think about, Ramsey, you could tell that story. Ramsey got shot at once in a situation he shouldn't have been shot at. And luckily, we didn't get you didn't hear a ricochet close or anything, but we knew they were shooting in our direction for sure. And, but I know, just a quick little story. And I didn't know if you had heard that story, Sean, because, I don't know, it was just cool. Ramsey and I can handle that situation as people that have been in that situation multiple times. But for someone that's never been in it, I'm sure it was very, kind of just not very happy.
No, for sure.
Yeah. So, and I will say, as someone that's, hunted for a long time, situations will arise that you can't control, to where you make the best possible shot you can and something might go wrong, and that puts you in that situation. But in that particular one, there's no way that deer should have been in that situation, because it was like first light, first of all. And for it to get as far as it did, that had to have happened right there on that state line.
Right. And we didn't want to pressure it, because the more you pressure it, the more it's going to suffer.
Yeah. And it just completely caught us off guard. And it was a bummer that we weren't ready for it we thought it was going to lay over right there with whatever was wrong with it, or we'd get, and you could never get a shot. It was on the horizon of this plateau.
Right.
And then eventually Ramsey walks up to it without a gun, thinking something's sick or something. And he runs off the timber, can never find him again. But yeah, no, that was, I don't know. That was a real great.
But just laying there and just
Getting ready to scope.
that video you have of me like just laying there, like just being ready with the scope, like having my finger like on the trigger, like just waiting for it to like stand up and like just like for me have a good shot. That was just awesome.
You've made it 99%.
Yes, just that last little part, the final part,
1% you need. We'll get it next year. Next year's gonna be a great year.
Optimism. Yeah, you got to get them out fishing this year too.
Oh, he's going ice fishing.
Ice fishing, good.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah. Well, I think we could probably talk for another hour, Sven. This has been really fun.
Yeah, it has. Seriously.
We'll have to have you on again.
Yeah,
It'd be
for sure.
great to. But for tonight, we're running a little long tonight, I think, aren't we?
Yeah, a little bit. But...
Okay, cool. Well, you guys have anything to add to the conversation tonight?
No, really.
Just wanted to thank Sven for coming out.
Happy to be here, man.
Yeah,
that was fun.
I'm happy for you to have these two as teachers. These two are good ethical hunters, and they're good people to learn from. I'm glad that you met them, and this is the route you're going.
Yeah,
and,
definitely appreciate those guys. And
but yeah.
Also, I think it's really cool what you guys doing here with your podcast. I think.
Oh well, thanks, man. This has been, I don't know, one of the happier experiences of ours for a long time, and we just want it to skyrocket for us. We have a lot of amazing ideas down the pipe here. So
yeah,
thank you for being our first After Dark. Even though I know, like Sean said, this really felt like more of an interview, but more than storytelling and bullshitting and shit.
That just means we'll have to have him on for another episode.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Hey man, whenever you guys,
he's got tons more to tell. I'm sure.
Oh, I got stories.
I don't even think we hit the tip of the iceberg there.
I can talk.
Yeah.
Well, cool. It was great to learn a little bit about you a little more, Sven, and we'll get you on the next one.
Appreciate you guys.
I guess we'll see you guys later. Huh?
See you later.
Peace out.
Bye.
That's all for today, folks. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you on the next episode.
Make sure to download and listen to the Bull Mountain Brothers podcast. You can catch us on Spotify and Apple Music.
Don't forget to check us out on social media for more daily content. Links in the description.